So you're looking at a house with a flat roof. Or maybe you already have one and you're staring down a replacement, hearing all those horror stories. Well, in this explainer, we are going to cut right through the myths and give you the real essential guide to modern flat roofing, what actually works, what definitely doesn't, and how you can make a really smart choice.
Okay, let's just get right to it, shall we? For so many people, the words flat roof basically mean one thing: leaks. A total nightmare. Homeowners often see them as these ticking time bombs, just a constant drain on the bank account waiting to happen.
But here's the thing, that reputation, it's built on really old, outdated technology. The materials we have today have completely changed the game. A great flat roof isn't about luck, not at all. It's about knowledge. And by the time we're done here, you are going to know exactly what to look for.
All right, Section 1. Let's start with the absolute basics and bust one of the biggest myths out there about flat roofs.
So here is the first secret. You ready? A flat roof is anything but flat. I mean, think about it. A truly level roof would just be a giant swimming pool up there, and that would be a disaster. To actually work, every flat roof has to have a very slight, almost invisible slope. We're talking about a 1/4-inch drop for every foot. It's just enough to gently guide all that water exactly where it needs to go, straight to the drains.
Okay, so the big question, right? Does this super low slope mean leaks are just inevitable? Is that risk just part of the deal?
Look, I'm going to be straight with you. Yes, the risk is technically higher than a steep-sloped roof, but that's kind of the wrong way to think about it. The real issue isn't the slope itself, it's the execution. When you have a professionally designed drainage system and you use modern materials installed the right way, leaks go from being an inevitability to a completely preventable problem.
So what are these modern materials I keep talking about? Section 2. Let's break down the main options you're going to see out there today.
The most important thing to see here is that there is no single best material. It's all about what your top priority is. For instance, if you just want something with an incredible, proven track record, EPDM rubber has been the champ for decades. But hey, if you live somewhere hot and your energy bills are through the roof, a reflective white TPO roof might be the smarter move financially. It's always a trade-off.
Let's zoom in on the two heavyweights for homes right now, EPDM and TPO. Think of EPDM as the seasoned veteran. It's this durable rubber membrane that's been performing like a champ for over 50 years. TPO, on the other hand, is the modern, energy-smart challenger. Its big advantages are these heat-welded seams that basically turn the whole roof into one giant monolithic waterproof sheet, and its white surface reflects the sun, which can seriously lower your cooling costs.
Now this is crucial. Even the best material on the planet is totally useless if it's installed wrong. So in Section 3, let's look at what I call the 7 deadly sins. These are the common failure points that turn a perfectly good roof bad.
Just look closely at this list. The really critical insight here is that most of those catastrophic failures, they're not because the material just decided to quit one day. Nope, they're caused by human error. It almost always starts with bad drainage, which lets water just sit there. Add an improper install, especially around the edges and seams, and a total failure to do basic maintenance, and boom, you've cooked up a perfect recipe for disaster.
So how do you spot a drainage problem before it's too late? Here's a super simple rule of thumb. If you see puddles of water on your roof 2 full days after it stops raining, you have a problem. This is called ponding, and it is a giant flashing red flag. That constant moisture just chews away at your roof, drastically speeding up the aging process. It's a leading cause of premature failure.
Okay, Section 4. You understand the risks, you understand the materials. So how do you turn all that knowledge into a smart investment? Let's talk numbers, and more importantly, how to hire the right person for the job. So what should you actually budget for this? You know, it's going to vary wildly depending on where you live and how complex your roof is, but a really reliable ballpark figure for a professionally installed system is going to be somewhere in that $8 to $12 per square foot range. That usually covers everything: materials, tearing off the old roof, labor, the whole shebang, and be very, very wary of bids that come in way lower than that.
And here's kind of how that cost breaks down across some of the common materials. On the budget-friendly side, you've got something like modified bitumen. TPO often hits that sweet spot right in the middle. Great performance for the price. And then you get to the premium end with materials like PVC, which cost more upfront, sure, but you're paying for top-tier durability and a potentially much longer lifespan.
When you're vetting a contractor, this checklist, this is your filter. Don't just ask for a price. When you ask,
how many flat roofs do you install annually? What you're really asking is, are you a specialist or just a generalist? Asking if they're manufacturer certified is how you make sure your warranty is actually worth the paper it's printed on. And demanding to know how they'll ensure proper drainage, that forces them to prove they've thought about the single most critical point of failure. These questions tell you who the real pros are.
And this brings us to the single most important takeaway of this entire explainer. You can pick the most expensive, most high-tech material on the market, but if it's installed by a crew that spends 99% of their time nailing shingles on sloped roofs, it is going to fail. Your choice of installer is more critical than your choice of material, period. Full stop.
So, in the end, it really all comes down to this one question. Is a flat roof an asset or is it a liability? The truth is, it's rarely the roof's fault. A modern system, chosen for the right reasons and installed by a true specialist, is a fantastic, durable asset. The problems, they are almost always preventable. The choice between a reliable asset and a costly liability isn't up to fate. It's in the details you now know how to look for.